Welcome race fans to NAGP GT1 race night, Thursday, Watkins, Glen. I'm Jack Ivy and I'm along with...
Ken Rodriguez.
Well, Ken, here we are in Watkins, Glen, New York. What have we got on the track tonight? What's in store?
Watkins Glen International Track, Jack. It's quite the historic track. This track has been in service consecutively since 1961, non-stop. Tonight's layout, we're running the long layout. It is an 11-turn course and quite the high-speed corners and some technical areas with one small bus stop type chicane on the inner loop. It's going to be a interesting race tonight, I believe.
Yeah, that inner loop may catch some of these guys out. We do have a 10% cut rule, so we're going to have to keep our eye on these guys. Wouldn't surprise me if we get the guys pushing real hard, if they might get caught out.
Yeah, definitely got to be careful. The bus stop chicane is definitely one area where they can look to capitalize on their times, especially now during qualifying, so they got to be careful. But this is a fun track, Jack. This is a track that allows these drivers to exhibit their driving skill as well as have a lot of fun with the speed that this track allows them to carry.
Yeah, they've got some slightly banked corners and some off-camber corners and some elevation changes. Got a little bit of everything going on here, so it's going to be interesting tonight, especially at the high speeds of the GT1 cars.
Absolutely, upwards of 160 miles per hour down some of these longer straights. That's the challenge going into that inner loop. They're flat out. That's sixth gear down to third, down to second for some, and trying to hold it together becomes a challenge. And it's great for the spectators that happen to have a seat right there because you know how they love to see some action.
Well, they are going to see action tonight. No doubt about that. And it is really heating up here in the GT1 category in the Drivers' Championship. Of course, these numbers I'm going to give you are all unofficial. Had to do my plus minus with the old pen and paper tonight as our scoreboard's not been updated. But Brad Maris, the instructor, is out in front with 128 points, followed by Rich Roman with 119. Aaron Parsons has jumped up to third place with 106, with Andre Prieto in fourth, followed by Poole Monroy, Alex White, Greg Myers, David Canavan, and Ian Joliker. So the race is going to be tight. These last couple of races are going to be all out for the Drivers' Championship.
Right, and I believe we have, what, 3 events left? Because we have this race and then a Super Bowl race and then the final. Speaking of David Canavan, he had set the early pace at 139.8, but Andres Prieto answered right back with 138.7, so already early in the qualifying session, we are seeing these drivers let it all hang out, and they're not going to hold anything back, it seems, tonight. As you said, we're starting to wind down this season, and these points now, Jack, are crucial, and an advantage to the points is a good starting position, good strategy in the pits. So, and it looks like we're going to have some good qualifying sessions tonight.
Yeah, and talking about points, I just want to put out a big shout out to Thomas Schubeck, who scored his first NAGP points last week, picking up 2 points for his 15th place finish. Good on you, Thomas.
Excellent, Thomas. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's always tough around here to grab points, but very satisfying when you do. So any points you can get in NAGP driving is well earned.
Absolutely. So turning our attention back to some of this qualifying, Rich Roman resetting provisional pole at 138.5 over Andres Prieto's 138.77.
Boy, and that's like a full second out of their early practice time. So, as you said, these guys are letting it all hang out there tonight.
You know, these times here remind me similar to what prototypes run here, Jack. They're definitely putting the gas pedal past the firewall a
Yeah, and I see there's quite a few of the drivers are swerving and bobbing all over the place trying to get grip wherever they can. But we've got pretty good conditions out there.
Track temperature 83 and the ambient 69, so those engines are breathing really well right now. And 83 degrees calls for the soft tires on qualifying, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm sure hoping we get some good dry race conditions tonight. These guys have had a lot of wet weather this season, so dry track might be a little treat to come to the end of the season with.
They most certainly have had to endure the adverse weather. Knowing a little bit about Watkins, Glen, it's not a very rainy region, so I'm hoping that GTR2 can simulate that. We get a dry race tonight as well.
Yeah, I would sure like to see these guys race on the dry. In fact, we're looking for about 46 laps tonight, and talking to some of the drivers earlier on, we may finish about 10 minutes sooner than our scheduled race length time.
That'd be a change, and a good one.
Well, just cycling down here through the pack. Matt Taylor up into the 14th spot. Good on Matt with the Ferrari F40. Schubeck into the 15th spot, right where he finished last week.
He sure does like that number 15. If he's playing sport, I'm going to recommend that number for his jersey.
He should pick that one on a car as well. I've got Marco Conti up on screen in P17. He had a great race last week as well. A little late problems put him back a few spots, but if we do have wet conditions, Marco would be definitely somebody to watch to move up through the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I absolutely admire about Marco Conti, this is a true sportsman. He loves the sport, he loves his team, and he loves the folks that he races with, and gives the utmost respect to everybody. Definitely a true sportsman. He's a pleasure to watch, and he's quite a funny guy too.
Hey, I see we've got a viewer up there through a chat up there. Kid Tones. Hey, don't hesitate. Throw your chats up in capital letters. You're not yelling at me. It's the only thing I can read. You've got a blind announcer here, so if you want to throw up some chats, throw them up in the caps, and I'll be able to read them a little better. But thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Watching Chris Moses right now. Chris was out practicing earlier. We noticed up on the board he was without his success weight, and this week we've got Brad Maris is going to be carrying 44 pounds, Aaron Parsons 88 pounds, and Chris Moses 66 pounds for their finishes at Zhuhai. Also, we had no penalties last week, absolutely none, and that's a bit of a rarity in this league to come away a race absolutely clean. So good on these guys.
Yep, absolutely, and just looks like they're finally starting to get things together, right? You got to race a few races, get used to each other, get used to the tracks, and there's really no way around the penalties when they are given out. So the best thing to do is drive a clean race and avoid those penalties. And it's good to see that last week at Zhuhai there were no penalties issued for any problems that happened on track, and that's a good thing to see.
It is. They had a little bit of an accordion effect at the start, but sometimes that's to be expected a little bit when guys get a little slow off the line. Pretty hard, adrenaline's pumping just before the green flag, and they drop the hammer maybe a little too aggressively and have to check back up again. But these guys have had pretty good starts off the line, and I expect nothing less this week.
Yes, sirree. Looking back at the qualifying, we have Andres Prieto jump right back up at 138.521 to Rich Roman's 138.531. It's getting interesting, Jack.
Yeah, I've got just picked up Ian Joliker back in P30 right now. Now this is one flying Frenchman, so I have no doubt he is going to pick up from his P30, yeah, and he is right on pace in the Sector 1 to match the pole. So let's watch him jump way up in the provisional standings.
Absolutely.
Although Kevin Savoy just took him out, so that'll end his excellent attempt. Well, he's still got 14 minutes to get back out there and get on it. We got a pretty good field here tonight, just over 30 cars.
31 entries for tonight. Have a couple that haven't qualified yet. Johnny Mack and Jolicor, who's headed back out.
Well, for you guys who are watching this, we sure would like to have you out racing with us. So if you like what you see, Mondays is GT2 action, Thursdays is GT1 action. Grab your wheel, get hold of the admins, come on out and race with us. Always make room for more. Next Monday is going to be our season finale in GT2. We're expecting upwards of 40 cars, but we can handle 61 starters in this race, so don't feel intimidated. Come on out, join the action. It is a 2-hour finale.
61 cars, that is incredible.
I would love to see 45 or 50 cars out there. That would just be absolutely total sheer enjoyment for everybody on track. It's such a big long track, it would be perfect.
It is. It's a long track. It's capable, certainly capable of handling a lot of cars, so I look forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because there's only 30 pit stalls there, so it's going to be interesting to see how everybody manages their pit stop strategy. And again tonight, as we've seen in the past, these guys like Chris Moses, the pit wizard, they can get in, out, and pick up places straight out of the pit. So we're going to keep our eye in midway through the race in the pit lane activity, because it's always interesting around here.
That it is, and it's such a crucial part of your race. Your pit strategies do wonders in this type of an environment, this type of a league, where you have so many veterans and the fast guys, where their pits become an integral part of their driving and their skills.
Yeah, I just see Rich Roman is taking over provisional P1, and he is sliding that McLaren all over the place.
That he is. He's on the brink of breaking below 138. We got to keep an eye on Rich Roman. Got Andres Prieto out there trying to best his time. Alex White actually moves up into the third spot with a 138.6. Good on Alex.
Boy, here's another one. Another fast driver. That guy could drive a shopping cart and be competitive around here. The White Lightning.
That indeed.
Aaron Parsons in P4.
And you know, Jack, I believe we're going to see some times get faster here towards the end of the qualifying, when these guys get a little more comfortable probably with the track and figure out where they can gain a tenth of a second or more, because again, Watkins Glen, high-speed track, definitely lends itself to being able to go all out. The bank turns are a huge help for these guys.
Yeah, I'm just watching Aaron Parsons right now. He is scrubbing his tires off as he comes around to start his hot lap. I don't know if you want to pick up Aaron and walk him through as he starts his hot lap for us.
Yep, sure will. So here he is coming down the main straightaway, it looks like right now. He's going to come into a sharp left-hander. Up through his gears. Here's him running around fourth gear. And here we go past the pits. So we will come down into a sharp right-hander, which is turn 1. This is going to be second to third gear depending on setup and how fast these drivers actually want to go, but they have the advantage of this corner being banked. Turns 2 and 3, right-hander, left-hander combination, shoots you up into turn number 4, which is a sweeping right-hander coming up here now. And down the long back straightaway. This is flat out. These guys get up there 150, 160 into the bus stop chicane, aka the inner loop. That's down to about third, fourth gear. And you're back on it Turn number 5, the outer loop, brings you down into the chute, which gets you into turn number 6. Now, turn 6 is a bit of a tricky one. It's a camber turn. However, at the end of the turn, you tend to drift out wide. If you're not careful, you can end up in the barrier. Turn number 7 is what's known as the toe. It's a fully cambered turn. It's almost like a NASCAR turn here. And that puts you onto the boot into turn number 8 coming up here for Aaron. He'll drop it down to about 3rd gear. Maintain a steady speed here. Again, another bank turn. Up the heel into turn 9, which is a left-hander. And coming down into turn 10, which is another left-hander. This one's more of a sweeper, so you can hold your speed here. This is a great overtaking opportunity if you can get the inside line. And turn 11, this is your final one, which will bring you back onto the front straight and past the pits and the start-finish line.
Well done, Ken, although Mr. Parsons doesn't pick up any time there. And I do see that Ian Jolker has jumped from 30th, so he obviously got a hot lap in. He's now sitting in P5.
That's incredible.
Out with his teammate as well, so he will be leading his teammate around to give them all the advantage they possibly can. And he is out there with John Wathen right now. Ian's one of those guys, very helpful, very amicable, willing to help anybody, and a great guy to chatter with on the Saturday channel if you guys want to listen to some of the banter.
Not to mention really fast, too.
Yeah, he is just one of those naturally gifted fast guys, and he lets his teammate go through. Oh, and John Wathen had to park it. Yep. Oh, that's too bad. It looks like he was giving Johnny quite the tow around the track.
Well, with about 6 minutes and 50 seconds in qualifying left, looks like Andres Prieto right back up there again, 138.1. Rich Roman holding 2nd, Alex White in 3rd, Parsons in 4th, Joe LaCour in 5th.
Yeah, we got Weisman holding 6th, Sportelli in 7th, Brad Maris in 8th, and Gregory Myers up to 9th. Good on Gregory. Not one of the best qualifiers in the GT1 category, but Mr. Smooth. And the lucky leprechaun, David Canavan in P10.
That he is. Marty Urin is currently holding 11th, Kevin Savoie in 12th. Sale Montgomery Jr. up in 13, Chris Moses in 14, and Dave Rowley 15th.
Yeah, good on Dave with the Gumpert. In 16th, we got Gup Douglas, Andre Cole in 17, John Wathen in 18, Juan Monroy in 19, and Marco Conti sitting just about where he was earlier in around 20th.
And holding the 21st position provisionally is Matt Taylor, Sam Rolfe in 22, Ryan Schleif 23, Thomas Schubeck 24, and Daniel Wilkerson in 25.
Sergio Calderon in 26, Mike Greatrix in 27th, and Liquid Lou Mascarelli in 28, with Mike Richard in 29 and Jacob Carpati in 30th.
Yeah, but we're still waiting to see if Johnny Mack will actually get some qualifying in.
Yeah, don't know what's going on with Johnny Mack, but better get the car out there. If he's waiting, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, only a little under 5 minutes left. Great track temperature, great ambient conditions, the forecast, everything looks good. This is a GT1 driver's dream.
Yeah, this is a fun track, and you're right. The temps look great for qualifying, and I sure hope this holds true for race conditions.
Yeah, I certainly do too. These guys deserve the break, and not to mention dry conditions will definitely give us a good run, good show today, good racing going on. And you know, again, with these GT1 drivers not holding anything back, anything can go here. This is the track to do it in.
Yep, just following Alex White around, and he is way off. It looks like he is going to save this lap and put in a final blistering lap, as he usually does, to try and move up. But P3 is a great position to be in. Lauren Weisman also taking the car on track now for, he'll get his last run in as well.
Yep, Lauren Weisman, the first one in the 139s, just on the brink of breaking into the 138s. Looks like he's going to try and better that time this time around.
Yeah, and I've grabbed Chris Moses. It looks like that extra weight we threw at him, Ken, is not helping him out tonight. He's sitting back in P14, but coming up to his first sector split. And he is just a couple of 100ths off of the provisional pole. So if he keeps this pace up, he will definitely move up in the ranks.
Never put anything past Chris Moses. This guy is just, he's a wizard.
Yeah, he had a great late charge in the wet last week. I think if he had had a couple more laps, we would have had a battle for the podium there for the win. But he just ran out of time.
Yeah, that was certainly something spectacular to watch. I don't know what happened. It was like he got a second win, and he was charging hard.
Yeah, he was driving by guys that looked like they were standing still, and their pace was good to begin with. So he just all of a sudden woke up or found some extra grip, and boy, he really smoked the field at the end there.
Oh, but today it looks like them 66 pounds of success ballast are certainly showing themselves in his car as he comes across the start-finish line 1.4 seconds too slow for pole.
Yeah, he maintains his P14, but he's keeping it on track. Going to try for, he's got enough time for one more lap. Moving up the order there, Salem Montgomery up to P12. Good on Salem.
Good on Salem, advanced one. John Sportelli sitting in 11th. John Sportelli in that Ferrari, man. He's fast in that Ferrari.
He definitely is, and boy, there's one tough competitor there in Sporto. Hard to get by. And Greg Myers and John Sportelli. Sportelli in 11 and Myers in 10. Now, there's a couple of guys who have had some real good duke 'em out battles out there so far this year, so that's going to continue tonight.
Absolutely, I expect it to.
So just moving up the order, we got Canavan in 7th, and Parsons has slipped down to 6th, Savoie in 5th, Lauren Weisman. So we got the Flying Frenchman, Weisman and Savoie in 4-5. Alex White hanging on to his 3. Roman in 2nd, and not much of a surprise, Prieto in P1. That guy's had a great season this year.
Yeah, you know, I'm really surprised that the times are dropping as low as they have. I thought Roman, when he posted his 138.2, that was going to be the end of it, but Prieto had an answer for him.
Yeah, 138.1. That is wickedly fast around here in these cars.
It is, when you consider that Indy cars can do this track at about 129, so they're just 9 seconds off an IndyCar pace. It's incredible.
Well, we've got 3 drivers in the 138, and holy jumping, we have got 16 drivers in the 139. This is going to be a tight middle field tonight. We got 16 drivers, all with about the same pace. This is going to be incredible.
Well, when you take into account the fact that about 2.5 seconds separates pole from 24th, between pole and 24th. It's about 2.5 seconds. It's not a lot of. There's not a lot of gap there when you think about it.
No, and that's the nice thing about this league. You know, all these guys from, as you said, from 1 to 24, they're all going to have somebody to race with. So, you know, we've got 20 guys in the middle of the pack who are just going to be racing their hearts out, and that happens week after week here at NAGP. So come on out and join us. Also, while we're waiting, we just flipped over to Quali 2 and the drivers get their driving meeting. Remember out there, guys, this is all funded by donations. We don't charge you to race here, but it sure is nice when we receive some of those donations to keep the wheels turning here at NAGP. So throw us a few bucks if you like what you're doing here, and keep having the fun.
Absolutely, you can do so on the website. It's done through PayPal. Also, we have Al Merriman, who has graciously went and purchased some very nifty looking NAGP t-shirts. You can pick one up for 20 bucks and he'll ship it to you anywhere in the world. That's a bargain. I got mine and I'm looking to buy 2 more so I can have one for just about every day of the week.
Yeah, I'm looking at getting some broadcasters NAGP TV logos slapped on the back of ours there, Ken, so that when we're out and about we can maybe get a free ride into some of our local racetracks.
There you go. Absolutely. And folks, don't forget, if you want to follow along with your favorite driver, you can always go to the website and up at the top, GT1 live timing, and that'll give you real-time stats for your favorite driver where you can follow along.
Yeah, just looking up here, Ken, on the main page, Johnny Mac never got out and spun a wheel on qualifying. I'm sort of befuddled. I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Speaking of the qualifying, we got about 45 seconds now left in the drivers' meeting, so you want to go ahead and start the rundown from qualifying?
We can do. So we've got P1, Rich Roman, followed by Andre Prieto, Alex White in P3, and Parsons in 4, Lauren Weisman in 5th.
Kevin Savoie will start in 6th, David Canavan in 7th, Ian Jolicoeur in 8th, Brad Maris will start 9th, and Gregory Myers in 10th.
John Sportelli in 11th, Marty Uren in 12th, Salem Montgomery Jr. in 13th, and Pit Wizard Chris Moses in 14th, and David Rowley in 15th.
And starting 16th, you have Gub Douglas, Andres Cole in 17th, Juan Monroy will start 18th, John Wathen in 19th, and Marco Conti in 20th.
And good on Matt Taylor, he's in 21st in their Ferrari F40, Sam Rolfe in another Ferrari in 22, Ryan Schleif in 23, Thomas Schubeck in 24th, with Daniel Wilkinson in 25th.
And Sergio Calderon will start at 26th, Lou Mascarelli 27th, Mike Greatrix in 28th, Mike Richard in 29th, Jacob Carpati in 30th, and Johnny Mac, that did not put in a qualifying run, will start in P31. And that is your starting grid tonight, folks.
Maybe Johnny Mac is thinking, I'm going to start at the back here and let this first lap schmozzle get out of the way before I start picking these guys off.
Boy, I got to tell you, this is the track you want to start at the back because, I mean, turn 1, while it is just about a 90-degree corner, it is banked. It gives you a lot of advantage here, and I think that you would actually want to get a good qualifying run in. But, hey, you never know what the strategy might be there.
Yeah, it's always tough at the back. There's no doubt about it. You know, not the best starting position to go from, but we got an hour and a half and 46 laps, so a lot can happen, and a lot does happen here at NAGP.
Yeah, it most certainly does. An hour and a half is a long time. It's a long race, and you know, as we've seen and as we know, all you have to do is just keep at it, steady, 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 and you're almost guaranteed to finish in the points.
Yeah, so I've just picked up Andre Prieto heading out. What about pit exit and entrance tonight? Anything tricky we should look out for, Ken?
Well, the only thing is when you're coming out of pit road, it is somewhat of a blind corner because those that are on the track coming into turn one, they can't see you. Unless they have their name tags on, they cannot see you. So it's going to be tricky with the folks that are pitting and coming out onto the track. Our advice is keep way to the right.
Well, that will be good advice because there always is action around pit time.
Absolutely. The good thing is that entering your pits, you're just coming out of turn 11, so you don't have a lot of time to pick up too much speed. It's a sharp right-hander, 90-degree right-hander, and then you're right into pit road. So we should see, hopefully no penalties for folks speeding into pit road.
Well, these guys, you know, they're, like I say, they like having a pit advantage, and a lot of these guys make good advantage of it, and I do see quite a few in this NAGP pit lane violations, so not going to surprise me to see them dash in, heave on the binders, and slide through and grab a penalty.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility there, Jack.
Well, it's still on board with Andre Prieto as he stops and picks up his starting box to practice his starts.
There you go. That's something a little interesting.
Well, we have watched Alex White do this. Alex White has a very interesting start procedure. He actually starts with his pit limiter on.
With his pit limiter on?
Yes. Again, you know, everybody's helpful around here. There's really no magic or voodoo going on, and he was quite open with it to all the drivers that he drops the hammer with the pit limiter on, and as soon as he gets traction, he disengages the pit limiter, and he claims he gets lickety-split starts off it.
I can see that. Just as you were explaining there, Jack, I was thinking to myself, why would anybody want to start with the pit limiter on? But then again, it's a form of launch control, if you will.
Yeah, like a traction control or launch control. You're right.
Absolutely. So it makes perfectly good sense. I'm sure that it takes a good deal of practice because I'm pretty sure that I'd fudge that up real easy.
I fudge up the starts just normally hitting the gas pedal, so I can't imagine pushing buttons and trying to think about doing all the other stuff these guys do.
Yeah, you got your mind so set on the start, right? It's not like you need anything else to add to the tension you're already feeling on the start, watching the lights come down, and you got to remember to let go of a button.
Yeah, and I have always guaranteed someone is starting ahead of me.
Yeah, same with me, Jack. So we're winding down our warm-up here. It's about 45 seconds left in warm-up, and we will be ready to go green after this small session here.
Yes, it is going to be another barn burner.
That it is. As you're watching, I see that you're on board with Alex White as he swerves to slow down into pit road.
Yeah, they're all going to practice that, but as you said, they're coming off that corner. You know, they're not going to want to slow down too much coming off that corner to give up too much. And hopefully they can get on the binders quick enough to get in under the 36 mile an hour.
Yeah, and you know what? When you're driving so fast, 36 miles an hour feels like you're standing still. It takes some skill and some pre-planning, if you will, before you enter pit road to actually get yourself down to that speed. So keeping an eye on that speedometer is very crucial here.
Well, Ken, do you have a pick for tonight?
Well, based on our qualifying, I would put it past either Prieto or Parsons. Those are actually my two favorite picks for tonight.
Both excellent picks. I am going to go out, and I think this is Rich Roman's win tonight.
That's certainly a possibility. Rich Roman showing great speed here tonight. He certainly understands the track. He knows what he's capable of doing around this track. So we have a good pick tonight of who can actually win this as we get ready to go green here.
And what do you think about those skies? They are looking atrocious. We've got 77 degrees in track temperature, the ambient 68, but the forecasting conditions can.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, talk about turn of events here, Jack. We have conditions that are, we have drizzle right now, and the forecast is for perhaps some wet conditions. I am very, very taken aback by this.
Well, I can see Rich Roman, a number of the drivers are popping in and out of the pits. Tire selection may be the biggest critical move they're going to have to make tonight.
And herein lies the dilemma with most of these drivers, what to choose. You have a dry track, but it's raining. What are you going to go out with? Do you put on the medium slicks? I believe that perhaps medium slicks in a condition like this may be the way to go. Maybe some soft slicks. But this is definitely a humdinger. It's just going to be, I don't know. It can certainly turn chaotic, and I'm hoping these guys make the right decision. We've got 24 seconds before the green flag drops. We're just going to have to see how this plays out.
You're right there. Boy, oh boy, tire selection. If this weather changes, we can watch from mad dash into the pits, and it may be who takes that dash first may win this. 5 seconds to go. Watkins, Glen, NAGP GT1. They're off, and Roman with a great launch out, and Alex White right in behind him, and that drops Prieto down right into third. But Prieto, boy oh boy, did he pass White like he was standing still going into the first turn. So we've got Roman, Prieto, White, and Parsons.
Very clean start from the front runners here, and looking a little further back. Looks like everybody's following suit.
Yes, it looks like we got a great start tonight. I don't see, I'm just cycling back into the field. It all looks good and clean as Rally puts a move on Moses there. We've got some action going on though. We've got a bunch of cars off. Boy, just around that that corner back there, so action early.
Rich Roman and your leaders getting away early. Looks like we have early battle going on for second place between Andres Prieto and Alex White.
Yeah, they won't want to let Roman get out too far away. They just don't want to let this guy, anyone, get clean track and check out.
Looking a little further back, you got David Rowley all over the tail of Gregory Myers. Chris Moses right behind both of them, looking to capitalize.
Boy, we are all backed up there from like 10 to 20.
Yep, they're just freight training it around right now, Jack. Trying to get a feel for this this track. Temperature is rising, and it's still a dry track. Even though the conditions in the forecast call for rain, it is still dry. And I'm wondering if some of these guys are in their cars right now, wondering if they made the right choice on tires right now.
Well, they're probably all out there on slicks, which would have been the right call for these conditions to start for sure. And if temperatures are rising, that's a good thing.
That it is, as we see some of the backpackers, Mike Richard battling it out with Matt Taylor, Salem Montgomery with Jacob Carpati. Good action from front to back.
Yeah, and I've got Gup Douglas, Johnny Mack, and Mike Graytrix. They got involved in a little bit of a schmozzle there on the first lap, so they're going to be working hard to get back up the front. So back up front, Rich Roman. Looking pretty good out there, but Prieto is not that far behind.
No, Prieto still has him in his crosshairs. He's a couple of car lengths back there. Lauren Weisman took over third from Alex White. He's got that Nissan GTR hooked up tonight.
Yeah, and he really likes that car. He's done well with that car. Boy, I've tried driving that thing. It's a right-hand drive car. It's different, but boy, those Flying Frenchmen sure make those cars run.
They do. For being a four-wheel drive car, it does pose its challenges, especially when it comes to entering corners. It doesn't enter corners as good as a rear-wheel drive car, but it sure can pull out of them right fast in a hurry.
Boy, we've got them all, as you said, freight training around from like P5 on. Savoie in 9th, Marty Uren in 10th, Brad Maris in 11th, Greg Myers in 12th, Raleigh in 13, Moses 14, Cole in 15, Wathen in 16th, Monroy 17, Connie 18, and Schubeck in 19. They are all battling hard early in the race. This is great action here.
And that they are. I can certainly see how they want to capitalize on position right now, because when it comes time for pits, Jack, you want to be in the best position possible to just get in, get out.
Yeah, just picked up Daniel Wilkerson in 24th, and he is chasing down Matt Taylor in the Ferrari F40.
Dan's got Mike Richard right on his tail in that Chevy Corvette.
And yes, he does. So there is, you know, from 20 to 25, we got some good action going on back there.
Looks like Rich Roman and Andres Prieto are starting to check out on these guys. They're starting to pull away a little bit.
Well, that's not a total surprise to us. They were extremely quick in qualifying and showed some great practice pace. So not good news for the rest of the field.
Not at all. They've got clean track out in front of them, and this just allows them the opportunity to just push a little bit harder and get away a little bit further.
Yeah, and if they're out there on medium tires, these lower track temps are sure going to help them out here.
Yep. Just taking a look at Sportelli up in 8th. He has got Savoie all over him. Savoie's dipping in and out, trying to look left and right, but Sportelli holding steady.
I'm on board with Kevin Savoie.
Sportelli does not yield. He will not yield an inch to you. He just holds his line. He knows how to take the defensive position coming into a corner, and there he goes dipping low. Doesn't want anybody getting on the inside of the line.
A very tough competitor to pass, but as I follow around on board with Kevin Savoie, those skies are still menacing out there.
They certainly are.
And you are right. He is putting pressure on Sportelli in a big way.
And here's the thing. You have Brad Maris right behind him. Marty Uren and Brad Maris right behind them. So as these guys take defensive lines, we all know that that slows the pace down a bit, giving the guys behind you an opportunity to capitalize.
And they are
on the action.
They are all backing up behind Sportelli at this point. But Savoie, yeah, he just got overtaken by, I think that's Marty Uren.
Marty Urin capitalized on Savoy going wide. He took the inside line away from him and picked up that spot there, Jack.
And now it looks like Savoy has Brad Maris all over his bumper as well. This is a great group of guys. We've got about 10 cars nose to tail. So we got Savoy, Maris, and Maris is looking on. I'm going to jump on board with Brad Maris. Some great early action we got going here, Ken.
Absolutely. Absolutely. These guys are trying to get that good track position, Jack. And again, with the skies looming the way they are, I'm sure that it's got to be heavy on their mind. Trying to race each other and keep in mind the fact that the weather may change at any time.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be, if we do get some rain, as we noticed last week, Chris Moses was one of the first. As soon as it started raining, he jumped in, grabbed the right tires, and really made up some ground. So, you know, it's going to be fast, critical thinking that's going to help these guys out if the weather does go sour on us.
Absolutely. Tire choice is so critical. Pit strategy is just as critical. Remember, it's a 90-minute race, so these are long races, and if you have to jump into the pits early for a tire change, then you're almost guaranteed having to jump in again for fuel and tires again later on.
Yeah, I just jumped on board with John Watson, who's racing in 16, and he is hunting down Andre Cole.
We've got 5 laps in the book so far.
On the first lap, but other than that, the guys are doing a great job tonight in some close racing.
Boy, just looking at Rich Roman up front, he's just checking out, and Prieto is right behind him, about a second behind him, and they're just putting on a clinic tonight.
Well, there is a couple of the drivers that we had pegged early as the fast front runners, so they're making us look like we are knowledgeable broadcasters.
Well, your pony's up front, man. Looks like he wants to run away with it all tonight, and I can't blame him. It's a great track to do it at. He's got his car hooked up. Prieto, he's actually pulling away from Prieto slightly, and nothing but clear track out in front of us, so nothing to slow him down.
Well, you know, it may come down to tire management, and I wouldn't doubt that these two are going to pit. If they can keep this gap together, although you're right, it does appear on the TV screen that Roman is pulling away slightly.
Yeah, and you know, the thing about that saline that Andres Prieto is driving, if I could say that there's a weak link in that car, it's that the rear tires heat up so much. Just about every track that you race, it's just the makeup of the car, the way the car is designed, and the suspension is designed. So yeah, tire management is crucial.
Well, they are sure in a battle for the win here early. A little bit of a gap back to Lauren Weisman, and Lauren has put a little bit of a comfort zone between himself and Alex White in the Mad Croc Corvette.
Absolutely. So running order as it stands right now is Rich Roman in first, Andres Prieto in second, Lauren Weisman in third, Alex White in fourth, and David Canavan bringing up your fifth spot.
Ian Joliker is in the sixth spot, followed by Aaron Parsons. And then we have a gaggle of cars. We got Marty Urin and John Sportelli just got together. Marty's got the worst of that. Marty's across the track and back over, and he has lost a bunch of spots, down to 13 as the freight train goes by. Down to 15. One little mishap there and went all the way down 9 spots.
Wow. Yep, was just watching that along with you. That mid-pack there, these guys are pushing really hard. They're pushing each other. Good sportsmanship for the most part, and you know, Rubbin's racing sometimes, but great action going on there.
You've got that right. It sure is. So Marty is all over the back. I think that's Andre Cole trying to grab that spot back, and he'll be looking to make his way back up, and has a great look on the inside.
Absolutely. And just behind them, John Wathen holding 16th position, Marco Conti in 17th, Juan Monroy in 18th, Thomas Schubeck in 19th, and Sam Rolfe bringing up your 20th position.
So Sam Rolfe and Thomas Schubeck having a little bit of a battle back there. Ryan Schleif in 21st. He's got some track by himself, so keep pushing, Ryan. Salem Montgomery. Boy, now Salem started well up in the pack to start this race. He had a great qualifying. He has slipped all the way down to P22. Running by himself right now, so I'm sure he had some good pace. He should be able to make up some ground.
Absolutely. Daniel Wilkerson, 23rd, and Gub Douglas back in 24, Johnny Mack, 25th, Mike Richard in 26th, Lou Mascarelli in 27th, Calderon in 28th, Matt Taylor 29th, and Mike Greatrix in 30th.
And we have lost somebody, but I'm not sure who that was.
Yep, still not sure who it was. I was trying to figure out who it was based on our starting grid here, Jack, but I do not know who we lost.
In the meantime, back up on board with your race leader, Rich Roman. And Prieto is close that gap up and giving Rich a rear view mirror full of saline.
You know, I wonder if these guys are listening to the broadcast as they drive. Because no sooner than we mention Roman pulling away, he starts closing that gap quickly.
Well, if anybody knows how to close and overtake, it is Andre Prieto. You know, we have watched him all season start way back in the field and pick up 20, 25 spots in the race. It's just this guy's an incredibly talented driver.
That he is. He's got an incredible ability for driving these cars fast.
But he is going to have his hands full to try and take this position away from Rich Roman. It's going to take a little bit of a mistake here.
Lauren Weisman back in the third spot. Looks like Alex White's starting to make up some ground on Weisman, trying to get that third spot back from him.
Yeah, and Lauren, you know, insider tips have told me that he runs very, very little wing on this, which means that car is going to be extremely loose. And we can see that quite evident in some of the TV cams where he slides that car around quite a bit.
Yeah, aggressive driving style gives you it affords you the opportunity to run a lower wing, greater top speed. You do suffer in the corners though, but I can certainly see him cranking that wheel well in advance of the corner just to get through it and trying not to lose too much time doing so.
Well, he is not losing too much time because Alex White has got his hands full trying to close up on him.
Go back one more position. Looks like we have Ian Jolicoeur all over David Canavan, followed by Savon Parsons. These guys are they're nose to tail going around the track. And
that sure is a great battle there, you know, for 4, 5, 6, 7. And the same with Savoie, just caught that on the TV cam too. Must be running a very similar setup to his teammate because he is sliding that around as well.
Yeah, that becomes evident coming out of those corners. You see these guys drift wide. Clear indication of low rear wing setup.
A little farther back in P10, we have his teammate, Mr. Smooth Gregory Myers. but he has got the pit wizard Chris Moses all over him.
You see that, right? And then David Rowley right behind Chris Moses as Chris Moses looks to the inside and he thinks better about it. Oh, and we see Dave Rowley loses it on the pit road exit.
Whoa, I was on board with Chris Moses and just missed that, but Rowley must have lost a few spots because of that.
Rowley slides all the way down to 20th spot at this moment.
Wow. That's how close these guys are together. One little accident is going to cost you a ton of positions.
Yep, absolutely. Looks like he got on throttle a little too early and spun those rear tires.
He was smelling the back of Chris's Ford GT1 and got a little too anxious.
Indeed.
So 13 and 14, we've got Andre Cole and Marty Uren.
Yeah, they're locked in a tight and heated battle there.
And John Watkins sneaking up behind as these two battle it out. John is just sneaking up behind, and we've seen what happens if these guys have a little wobble. It doesn't take much to capitalize on this and move yourself up.
Not at all, and I see that Marty Uren is... he is pushing as hard as he can as he nearly lost it in the previous corner as his rear end started to slide out some. But,
and he has just taken that position from Cole.
Cole just gave it up.
You know, again, you know, slid out a little bit, just a tiny little mistake. Oh, hang on a minute. Am I seeing rain on the track? Again, I'm just going to drop over to the leaderboard. We have switched over to damp conditions, and I think we're getting some rain.
We are starting to see some rain. Damp conditions on the track. That is going to be a game changer, Jack.
Wow. I am just going to jump back up to our race leaders because this is going to be critical.
It most certainly is. And, you know, I mean, damp is not going to be a big problem for these guys so long as they're staying in that race line. They're pretty bunched up well together, which means that they can keep that race line nice and dry. It means they can keep it moving. But if we switch over to wet, we're going to have some serious problems.
Well, we're not going to, Ken, but they are.
I'm glad I'm not driving tonight.
Well, the changeable conditions it's tough, and it looks like the rain's coming down now, Ken.
Yep, I see that. I see that, Jack, and I wouldn't doubt that within the next lap or so we're going to see the conditions change over to wet. Those skies are darkening, they are threatening, and it doesn't look like they're going to clear up anytime soon. They're thick and dark.
Well, in the meantime, Roman looks like he is stretching his lead out over Prieto just a tiny little bit, giving himself a little breathing room, but boy oh boy, one little slide and it's going to end miserably. Well, it's going to be interesting to see who bites first and jumps in and grabs some wet tires.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Again, we still are damp, so if these guys stick to the race line, they should be okay. You start going wide or cutting it too close to the grass, you're gonna find yourself swapping ends.
Yeah, I just picked up Laurent Weisman and Alex White, and Alex White's one that is a decent wet condition driver, so we know Laurent's got his car set up pretty loose. He gets a little slide going on here. He might not even be able to recover from that. So, oh, and Alex White has gone a little wide there on the track, so who knows? It may be slippery for everybody.
Quite possibly. Speaking of wet weather, I'm just taking a look at 16th place Marco Conti, who does pretty well in the wet weather, and he seems to be holding his own right now. Moved up from 20th to 16th.
And I've come on board with Savoie and Jolicoeur, and they've had some close side-by-side action going around the corners there. Savoie as well in that Nissan, and it looks like they might have that set up just a little loose for wet conditions. And right behind him is Aaron Parsons, and I know this guy's a master in all conditions, so he's probably just waiting for these guys to have a little bit of a bobble together. And thank you very much, I'll go right by.
Oh, sometimes you get that patience to pay off for you, Jack.
Well, in an hour and a half, these guys usually show pretty good patience and can figure out where a driver's weakness is in front of them and capitalize on it.
Just on board here with Ian Jolicoeur as he's hunting down Kevin Savoie in that Nissan GTR, and Savoie gets a little loose.
Yep, we're on board with Jolicoeur too, so we're right with the action. Looks like Ian's sporting a little bit of damage there on the right side panel of that car of his.
Yes, indeed. Might have had some slight contact.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see a little bit of spray coming up, so we're probably getting a little closer to wet conditions as Ian gives it a little slide. Coming up around Dan Wilkerson, so getting around some lap traffic already. Dan gets the blue flag. And everybody gets by clean.
Coming down that front stretch, they're going to hit this turn 1 at 90 degrees.
Well, we've got Weisman in the pits. He bit.
Well, it must be a little worse than what we're seeing on screen then, Jack.
Well, oh, and we've got cars going wide here. Looks like Andre Cole has gone way wide. Chris Moses up to 12th. Up about 5 spots since this wet weather has started up.
Well, here's another interesting fact. We are looking at the temperature. The temperature is now starting to drop, and we know what happens when that temperature starts to drop, and our forecast is for wet weather. You're going to get some wet track.
Well, if we get a thunder boomer come out, we're going to go flooded, and these guys are going to have to get in. So Weisman is rolling back out in 23rd. Mike Richard into the pits.
Just trying to get a feel for what your leaders are doing. Doesn't look like they're coming in. There's, as Rich Roman stays out, and Andres Prieto also stays out. Alex White is out. These guys just going past pit road. So it doesn't look like your leaders are ready to come in yet.
Nope, they are sticking with it. Although, as I said, you know, we've got Savoie has dropped, Savoie's in 5th, and a big slide there. And that's probably why Weisman has gone in. They probably have no grip left on those tires of theirs. That setup is going to be key. Without running any downforce in the wing, that's going to be hard on handling this car on a wet track.
Well, what happens there is then now you're relying more so on your tires for your grip. So because you lose a lot of the mechanical grip when you're running that low downforce wing.
And Savoie has got Ian Jolicoeur all over the back of him, and it's only going to take one little bobble here for Ian to capitalize on that. And right behind him again is we've got Aaron Parsons, who is keeping that McLaren rolling down the track pretty smooth.
John Sportelli in 8th.
And we've got a
pretty good line.
We've got a leader change. Andre Prieto has taken the lead from Rich Roman. We missed that, but Prieto is now taking the lead.
That he has. He's got that saline hooked up.
And they stay out.
As they just go back by pit road, I was just looking at that. Wow, that's pretty incredible. We're still damp, but the temperature is going to continue to drop, it looks like here.
Well, it still looks, as I watch these two guys on the television cam, that I can't even see P3 in the picture.
No, you're not going to see Alex White. Alex White is about 11.5 seconds back from P2.
Boy, these guys are checking out early.
I tell you, they're putting on a clinic tonight.
But it is definitely going to be interesting as they come up to all sorts of lap traffic now. Coming up and around Matt Taylor.
Yeah, your back markers are going to be running considerably slower than your leaders at this point, especially with this damn track.
But good on Matt. He took the inside there and eased off the throttle and let both P1 and P2, Prieto and Roman, sail on by. So good on you, Matt. Well, Ken, is this the lap where they come in for tires? What lap are we on? Do you have any idea? Are they getting close to their pit window? And that's probably what these guys are probably thinking now. I only want to do this in one stop.
That's what I'm thinking as well. We've got 16 in the books with a scheduled 46.
Whoa! It looks like we had Lou Mascarelli come off, and that forced Prieto out into the wall, and Roman has retaken that position. So Prieto is probably going to eat up a bunch of damage on that car, and now we've got some lap traffic in between. Oh, this is not good here. Prieto looking on the outside and a dip of the light saying, "Get out of my way, I am coming through." Woo! There will be all sorts of drivers chatter about that one.
Well, the rain is coming down harder now, Jack, so we're going to be seeing these guys dip into the pits. They're going to have to change their tires.
Yeah, you know, I don't know how much they're giving up on lap time. I think they're more concerned on giving up time to each other. So if we see one dive in, we're going to see them both dive in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Prieto pushing hard to grab that spot back. So we've got Roman in P1, Prieto in 2, and a gap to P3. Prieto sliding the saline all over.
Yeah, just watching that here with you as well. Ian Jolicoeur, he's holding down 4th. He's about 5 seconds back from Alex White. Alex actually closed his gap to Andres Prieto, I would assume because of that bobble that he had with the back marker. It's about 9 seconds now. So he'll be looking to capitalize and get back up there with the Canavan's holding down 5th.
Yeah, and Canavan is in quite the in the battle as well. With Savoy, I just caught it. Savoy has lost it, spun it around, and how Savoy and Sportelli swapping paint, not giving an inch there, as Sportelli has another look on the inside. Savoy sliding that car all over the place. Boy, we've got some intense battles going on here.
Yeah, and going through those S's and down the straight, you know, Savoy's going to have the edge because he does run that low wing over Sportelli, but Sportelli's definitely got him on the infield and through the corners.
Well, a little bit of paint swapping going on there for P7. Brad Maris in P8. Greg Myers up to P10 with Marty Uren in P11. Chris Moses looks like the side of his car has suffered. Oh, he has got some damage on that car there, and we're going to take a little bit of a look at it. And it looks like he's got his left sides all smashed to pieces. So he is suffering some damage there, but he's up to P12. Wathen in 13th, Cole in 14th, and Marco Conti into 15. Juan Monroy in your last paying position at 16.
Thomas Schubeck is holding steady at 17. Salem Montgomery Jr. in 18th. Sam Rolfe in 19. Gup Douglas in 20th. Good on Gup. Johnny Mack 21st. Dave Raleigh up to 22nd. Laurent Weisman down to 23rd because of the early pit. I guess he's hoping that his early pit will pay off some dividends here tonight.
Well, I just caught up with Raleigh there. Raleigh is missing his splitter. He missed that that chicane there. He is having all sorts of problems with the Koenigsegg, just trying to keep it on track. So we can look for David Raleigh to bring that Koenigsegg into the pits and get a splitter on that thing.
And that is going to cost so much time. Could quite possibly put him down a lap.
Yep, we've got Lou Mascarelli in 24th, Ryan Schleif in 25th, Dan Wilkerson in 26th, Matt Taylor in 27th, and Matt is in the pits. So we got a couple of cars coming in the pits now. Sergio Calderon in 28th is in the pits. Michael Graytrix in 29, and Mike Richard in 30th. So back up with your race leader, Rich Roman, Andre Prieto, and Prieto has just slid that car big time. I'm surprised he actually hung on to that. I think this might be pit time for these guys.
And your fast guys are quite reluctant, I've noticed, in most circumstances, to come in to change tires if they feel they could push a few extra laps. But I'm watching Prieto, and Prieto is just all over as looks like Rich Roman ducks into the pits there.
Yeah, and that rain is really coming down now. I don't know. Prieto's going to have to come in on this next lap. I would have thought, you know, strategy might have been great to just jump into the pits together and hope you can squeak out real close or even make a jump in the pits. But if Roman comes out on the right tires, maybe intermediates or some wet tires, he will definitely pick up whatever Prieto is losing during this next lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly on board with David Raleigh as he jumps into the pits to get a new splitter put on his car. Pretty sure he's going to take a tire change here too, Jack, and perhaps some fuel.
Absolutely. I can't see anybody staying out there without getting into some wet tires. It just does not look like it's going to clear. The skies are looking terrible, and that track has got to be getting slipperier and slipperier.
It looks like Prieto is just sliding all over the place.
Well, he's got to come in on this one, I would imagine.
Well, when he does, it'll give David Canavan P1 should he opt to stay out, but he's in P2. I would certainly think that ducking into the pits and hoping to get out quickly would pay off for David Canavan.
And I cannot believe it. Andre Prieto is staying out, so he is going through to his pit window. He has said, I have got to go to my pit window. I'm only stopping once in this race, and I can't do it. If I stop now, I won't have the fuel to finish.
Well, I'll tell you this much. We just went to wet conditions, and I don't know if that strategy is going to pay here.
I'm right there with you. It is going to be real tough to hang on to this car. This is white knuckle driving for him right now.
Absolutely. You have to be so tender on the throttle and just as tender on the brake. Uh, Me, I'd like to just get in the pits and get some wets on right now.
Yeah, we can see he has got one of the other Aston Martins there. I'm not sure who that is. Might be Ian Jolicoeur, but Ian has just passed him. So we know that, you know, P5 or 6 for Ian Jolicoeur is, and Andre is still sliding that car around, and we've got one of the lap cars that has actually already been in the pits. Looks like he's got more pace on Andre than Andre does, so he's got to get in and get those tires changed.
Yep, and we watched David Canavan, Greg Myers, and Chris Moses duck into the pits now for their tire changes.
By on one stop, and I'm not so sure that's the smartest thing to do.
And you've got Andre's partner, his teammate, right behind him.
Yeah, we've got big leader changes right now. We've got Andre is still in first, but Aaron Parsons takes over P2. Mark O'Connor into P3. Andre Cole in fourth. Rich Roman in 5. Gup Douglas in 6. And Laurent Weisman in 7. Alex White 8. Jolicoeur 9. Big slide by Ian. And John Sportelli in 10. And boy, oh boy, that is raining hard now.
That it is. You're starting to see it in the lap times for Andres. He's still out there on those slicks, holding on to his position. I can understand the desire to want to stay out there because they are racing for championship points and team championships. But boy, he's just sliding all over the place. He's got no grip whatsoever.
I don't know why he hasn't lost it yet. And I would be afraid that it might be a catastrophic loss. He may just put that car off into the wall, lose a wheel, and he is finished.
Oh, we just saw one of the Corvettes. We just saw the Corvette slide off into the grass there and hit the wall.
Yeah, and Chris Moses, he's had his tire change, and he just blows on by Andre Prieto. So Prieto's pace is gone. He has absolutely no speed left, no rubber left on that car, no traction at all.
No, and I'm not sure, but did we see Aaron Parsons come in for his pit? I don't think he came in either.
No.
Because I'm watching Rich Roman's times, and Rich Roman is just gaining in leaps and bounds on P1 and 2.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he didn't either.
Yeah, so he's going to be losing pace also as Prieto finally comes in.
I was just going to say, he finally pulls that car in.
But
wow,
that thing we know about Andres.
Yeah, that was almost painful to watch, though.
It was. But if there's one thing we know about Andres Prieto is that he does have the ability to come from the back and make up a lot of spots once his car is hooked back up.
Yep, and he is in his box and getting his fuel now. He has dropped to P2. Now Parsons has taken over provisional P1. But as you said, I don't think Parsons has pitted.
Yeah, I don't think that he's pitted either.
But
and,
boy, Aaron sure.
We have Rich Roman.
Aaron sure looks really smooth out there. If he hasn't pitted yet, I mean, he is driving a very smooth line. I don't see this guy wavering around at all.
The McLaren's a distinctly different car from that Saleen. I believe that the McLaren has a bit better handling in the wet weather.
Well, Rich Roman has definitely been in and got his tires done, so it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out in relationship to Andre Prieto. So, Weisman and White, 3-4. That really hasn't changed that much.
Nope, they've just been holding steady in their positions there.
And I see David Rowley's throwing up a post. Hey, Dave, throw it up in caps so I can read that thing. I can't read a thing on this thing without having some...
He's asking if anybody is up for barbecue. Meet at the outside of turn 1 because he is done. So stick a fork in him. David Rowley is done for the night.
Attaboy. Well, at least you can find some humor in it, and good on you, Dave. Parsons dives into the pits.
As Roman comes by to take over P1 again.
And he does indeed. Now, how far back is Mr. Prieto?
Prieto's currently running in 6th position, right behind Ian Jolicoeur. Now, I don't remember seeing if Weisman, White, and Jolicoeur may have made their pit stops as yet. I see that Parsons is just ducking in there.
Yeah, and I'm not sure either. I would suspect, as you do, that maybe Weisman and White haven't, but I may be wrong. Boy, Weisman's car sure seems to be doing a lot better than it did earlier, so maybe they have. I'm not quite sure, but he has got Alex White all over the back of him right now.
And not too far behind them is Andres Prieto, so I know that Andres has got the right tires on. He's going to be looking to make up his positions quickly.
On board with Alex White. Boy, and that onboard camera, there is a lot of rain out there.
Hammered with spray, huh?
Yeah, I don't think we're quite in flooded conditions, but I think we're headed there.
Well, if you look up at the skies, they haven't lightened any.
No, and we can see that Weisman, rear end of his car, he's missing his right tail light, so he has had more than his fair share of action tonight.
Roman sitting up in P1 starting to check out again.
Well, I'm looking for White on the outside. White having a run down the straight. And it looks like he might make this stick. And yes, indeed, he does. Alex White takes over P2. And
right behind Weisman, Ian Jolicoeur looking to capitalize as well.
And yeah, and there's another tough competitor on board with Ian as he tries to make the same move. One lap, and he can't be happy about that.
No, and I don't think that he may have made his pit stop yet. I'm not sure if he did. And if he did, wow, don't know what to say.
Well, White and Jolicoeur just seem to have motored on by, and in fact, White just looks like he is just running away from Weisman. Along with Jolicoeur, too. Jolicoeur, I think, sees the back end of White and says, I'm coming for you now. And Prieto in P5. See, I think that actually hurt Andres staying out that long. I think 1 or 2 laps earlier might have been a better move for Andres. I would have ducked in at the same time as Rich Roman had ducked in. I would have been right on his tailpipe.
Absolutely. At that juncture, you have the opportunity of having a faster pit, perhaps. And at worst, you know what? You get out right behind your leader, and you still have a good run at him.
On board with Prieto as he looks to grab a position from Weisman, and on the inside, and Weisman gets loose, and Prieto down on the inside, and he has taken that position away. So Weisman has got his troubles late in this game after the first stint is done, and he is giving up all sorts of positions. So Laurent, not going to be a happy driver at this point of the race.
It just dawned on me, Jack, that you were saying that they set up those cars for dry weather, and that setup, if he did indeed have his pit stop, doesn't look like the setup is liking the wet very much.
No, I think you're right. I think, if he's running sort of a low downforce and trying to get some straight line speed out of it, he's going to need all the grip he can muster, and he just doesn't seem to have it at this juncture.
And herein lies the issue with Watkins Glen track. It does have some really nice long straights. However, in my opinion, it's not a track that has, long enough straights for you to run such a low downwing set, such a low downforce setup. It does have some technical parts to it. And again, I know that these guys think that banking is just about foolproof, but you got to have a good setup to go with the banking as well as the straights and the technical pieces of the track.
Yeah, it's going to take a fine balance, to balance the car out. And boy, the guys who didn't set up for rain, although they had every indication at the beginning of the race that it was iffy.
That they did. Don't know if they had enough time to actually, get something together as far as a setup for rain. But my philosophy is when you set up for the dry, you set up for the wet as well. And that's always what I try and do. Is I get out there and I'll practice in the dry, and once I've got that nailed down, you know what? Then I open the floodgates and I start setting up for the wet.
Well, I've just flipped over to the leaderboard, and Mr. Roman is literally checking out on here. He's got a 21-second lead over Alex White. So the battle right now looks like 3, 4, 5. And then we've got a battle for 6 and 7, 8 and 9, 10 and 11. Holy jumping. We got battles all the way through, but Mr. Roman looks like he is in control of his own destiny right now.
That indeed. And just looking at your running order right now, we'll start from the top. Rich Roman in P1. P2 goes to Alex White, Ian Jolicoeur in P3, Andres Prieto in 4th, and Laurent Weisman in 5th.
John Sportelli in 6, being hounded by Marty Uren in 7. David Canavan running by himself in 8th, with Gregory Myers in 9th, and Aaron Parsons in 10. So there's 2 teammates in 9 and 10.
Yep, and Juan Monroy in 11, Marco Conti in 12, Salem Montgomery in 13, Andres Cole in 14, and Thomas Schubeck rounding out your top 15.
Way to go, Thomas, and that is right where he finished last week. So this guy has got to be one happy camper here, and I love the look of that Panos. Brad Maris all the way down to 16. I'm not sure what happened to Brad. He is not going to be happy with that 16th place finish, because being the other half of Andre Prieto's team and Anger Racing, they are well in front in team championship points, but he's going to want more and better than that. John Wathen in 17. Chris Moses back in 18. Boy, he has sure slipped half a dozen spots there. And Gup Douglas in 19, and Sam Rolfe in 20th.
And you have Daniel Wilkerson in 21st, John Emack in 22, Lou Mascarelli 23, Matt Taylor 24, and Ryan Schleif rounding out 25.
Mike Graytrix in 26, and Mike Richard, a pair of Mikes, 26 and 27. Sergio Calderon in 28th. And that's your field. So back up in front, Rich Roman all by Marty in 5th, and it looks like Sportelli is coming to put a push on Marty again.
And it looks like we just lost Wiseman with a suspension problem.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Well, that car was loose. We knew that.
Yep, absolutely. So his night has ended early, and that will move everybody behind him up one position.
Now, just as we saw last week, I'm on board with the race leader, Rich Roman. And who blows by Rich Roman like he is standing still? Chris Moses in the Ford GT1. And I mean, he went by Rich Roman like Rich had the anchor thrown out the back. What is with this pit wizard, Chris Moses, in wet weather late in the race?
I don't know. He's got the Rocky syndrome, right?
Boy, oh boy, he sure does. I mean, he is... He has got the hammer down, and boy, he is running away there. Too bad he's too far back. I don't know if he has the time to make it up, but he is definitely going to make up some positions if he keeps this up.
Well, we have 29 laps in the book. I know that we've had some pits so far. Just looking at weather conditions, our forecast has changed. It looks like we're headed to flooded. Although right now we are wet with 72-degree weather and an ambient temperature of 65. So the engines are still breathing nicely, but we have some, it looks like some adverse weather on the way.
Well, the engines will be breathing nicely, but I bet you the drivers aren't. They're probably hanging on to this, white knuckling it, because there's quite a bit of spray out there on the track, and I'm starting to see some reflections on the track, which you're right, that's usually an indication of flooded conditions.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But as you mentioned, just looking at Chris Moses, he is in P17, but just he's looking mighty fast out there and making up time. This got to keep an eye on him. He just moved up one position.
Well, we've got Juan Monroy in 10. Oh, and it looks like we've got, I'm thinking that's Lou Mascarelli has just lost it. It looks like the front end's gone. He might have lost a wheel on that one. And we've got Salem Montgomery. He's running around without a front hood or a splitter. Boy, oh boy, we got a bunch of damaged cars out there.
Yeah, you're seeing the reflections as one of the Corvettes goes off there. This is going to get real slippery real quick.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be, poor old Salem's going to have quite a lengthy pit stop to get a whole new front clip put on that car and get some soft wets on, because we're definitely getting into soft wet territory here. Brad Maris in P13. Schubeck up to P14. Holy jumping, this guy is going to be elated. I got a feeling that maybe this Thomas Schubeck is liking these wet conditions. He sure liked them last week.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Jack. Just looking up front a little bit here, Alex White and Andres Prieto in a very, very heated battle. But it begs the question, will the tires that they selected in their last pit be sufficient? I don't think so. I'm starting to see a lot of the same behavior that we had before. These cars are sliding all over the place.
Yeah, they're definitely having trouble there. Chris Moses into P15 and Greg Myers all the way back to P16. So maybe these guys aren't out on what should be the right tires. I know Chris has been putting in some great laps there, but if they got to make another pit stop, everything's going to change.
That it will. And, you know, just looking at the timing board, 31 laps in for your top four.
Yeah, and we've got Ryan Schleif and Salem Montgomery in the pits. We knew Salem had to get in to get his body work done. Schleif obviously in to get a tire change. Johnny Mack back into 20th. Matt Taylor in 21st. Dan Wilkerson in 22nd. Graytrix in 23rd. Lou Mascarelli has had his hands full tonight. He is off eating some sand there, and Lou just bit the wall in a big way. That might be the end of the race for Lou. Lou Ryan Schleif back out in 27. So we've this has proven to be a lot more difficult than it looks.
Boy, oh boy, you're not kidding. I'm just back on board with Thomas Schubeck. He is trying to hold off a hard-charging Chris Moses, but Chris Moses takes the inside line. Looks like he's going to motor on by down the front straightaway here.
Just caught up with you there, and yes, he did. But you know, if anybody in this league is going to pass me, both Chris Moses and Aaron Parsons are two guys that can just, as you mentioned earlier, thread the needle. If you just give them enough, they'll get by you clean. But Chris is on a tear right now.
Yeah, he is, considering that he had I'm not going to say an early tire change, but he had a tire change with the majority of the folks, and here we are seeing even more wet weather coming our way. So it begs the question: did they select the right tires, or are they going to have to pit in again? We're getting close to the end of the race here with 32 laps. I'm not sure if we'll actually finish on laps now versus time, considering the weather, but it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, and you know, I'm on board with John Wathan, and he's sitting in P13, but Chris Moses has moved up to P14, and Chris has given him all sorts of Ford GT1 in that rearview mirror of his. So I'm looking for, so they're going to hang in here, because there's definitely going to be some pass action going on shortly, as Chris looking on the outside, looking on the inside, and Wathan a big bobble into the guardrail, and Chris Moses motors on by.
You know, and just looking up front, it looks like Rich Roman went ahead and pitted in. He drops to P6, but Andres Prieto now out in front, followed by Alex White and Ian Jolicoeur. Those are your top three. So we've had a shakeup up front.
And we haven't seen the end of it yet. Now I'm still back on board here with Chris, following Chris around. He took one position in the last lap, and now he has just gone by Andre Cole. Chris Moses has just picked up another spot. He is now in P12. Man, oh man, this guy is on a tear.
And he's got Juan Monroy right in his sights.
And Chris seems to have pace on, boy, I think he's got pace on everybody right now.
Go get him, Chris. You should have started this earlier.
Well, he has just taken that spot from Juan Monroy, like Juan was standing still. So Chris up to P11, putting on a great show for us.
You know, I tell you, those heavy Ford GTs, they're good in the rain. I know that they're good in the wet weather. So that could be playing to his advantage right now.
Well, he now has David Canavan in his sights, but that lucky Irishman, boy, he might have his hands full getting around this lucky Irishman here, because I know David's not going to give up that spot easy.
No, I suppose not. He's driving that. I thought it was Ferrari F40, but I don't.
No, he is driving the Lister.
Driving the Lister Storm. Very stable car. Love the Lister.
And now Brad Maris is, boy, oh boy, big change. Brad Maris has gone into P9. So that is going to help his team out in a big way. Brad has just given the dip of the lights, and oh, we've got an accident. It looks like Matt Taylor and Chris Moses have gotten it together.
Yep.
Chris has got it going again, but he has dropped to P13. And boy, another wreck, and it looks like Andre Cole got in the back of him, and he's taken out Thomas Schubert. What a disaster here. And, oh, we have got another wreck on track. Wilkerson has taken a hit there by Andre Cole, so we've got some real action going on. Oh, and over the place. What a mess. Cole is missing everything off the front of his car. I'm surprised he's got a tire left out there. Woo!
Yeah, Andres Cole losing the splitter, the rear wing, and his body of his car just tore to pieces.
Yeah, and poor old Thomas Schubeck, boy, he got a bad go on that one too. Chris Moses is out. He's parked his car.
Yep, just about to announce that, and just caught it as you did.
Boy, that is a shame. That's too bad, because that guy was sure putting on a wet weather show for us tonight. And Chris, our heart goes out to you there, buddy, because this has just been a terrible season for you. But you put on some great entertainment for the viewers. Thanks.
And looks like we lost Lou Mascarelli also with the suspension.
Yeah, Lou sort of plowed it into the wall there. So just moving up here a little bit, we got Marco Conti, a wet weather tiptoe artist, in P8 now. Aaron Parsons in 7. Roman in 6. Sportelli up to 5. Marty Urin in 4. Joel Leclerc in 3rd. White in 2nd. And Prieto is in 1st. I'm not sure why we've got Roman down so far. Do you have any idea?
Roman did come in for a second pit. He did change his tires when we started seeing the heavy stuff come down. I guess he felt that everybody else would follow suit. Looks like they did. They stood out. It doesn't look like they're going to be coming in.
Well, you know, it's going to come down to the last few laps. Can these guys hold on with the tires they've got? Do they have the right tires on? But boy, I'll tell you, just on board now with Prieto, and he's looking pretty solid right now.
That he is. Alex White also. Alex White seems to have gotten his stuff together, and he's running a solid P2 right now.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to be that too far behind our race leader. Joel Leclerc, another one. So those guys are spaced out a little bit for 1, 2, 3, but good on them. They're all keeping it sort of tight there.
Back in P21, Daniel Wilkerson finally makes his way into the pits so he can get that new splitter put on.
Yeah, that was quite the wreck on the main straight there, so quite a few cars involved. Knew something might happen, but I didn't think it was going to involve that many cars. I thought we might lose 1 or 2, but boy, oh boy, what a wreck. Oh, we've got Marty Urin in P4, John Sportelli up to P5, Rich Roman in P6, Parsons in 7, Conti in 8, and Canavan just blows by Marco Conti in a very quick fashion to take that spot away. So Canavan in 8 drops Marco Conti down to 9, Brad Maris in 10, Wathen in 11, Greg Myers in 12, Gup Douglas in 13, Juan Monroy in 14, and Johnny McIntyre in 16. So a lot of changes going on late in the race.
A lot of changes, Jack. And again, due to the weather, things changing the way they did. You know, definitely, I'm sure it caught these guys by surprise. You know, they're focused on driving, and you know, you get these weather changes out there that force you to alter your strategy, your race strategy.
Yeah, I just picked up Andre Cole going into the into pit lane, and his car is smashed to pieces. And along with Mike Richard too, we've got 1, 2, 3 corners of his cars all smashed up. Dan Wilkerson back out of the pits, like you mentioned. His car's looking good now, but pit crew must have been busy.
very busy putting that Viper back together. You know, good on him for getting back. Well, but I got to tell you, you know, we started with 31 racers and we're down to 24. So, you know, we've had a few drop like flies here.
Yeah, not too bad in these tough conditions, though. You know, in the rain, it's not unusual to lose a bunch of guys all at once, and unfortunately, we lost a couple of our quicker drivers out here tonight. But hey, that's what happens.
That indeed. And moving back up front to your third position, looks like Ian Jolicoeur trying his best to hunt down Alex White. They do have a back marker between the two of them, but looks like Jolicoeur is trying to turn up the heat a little bit.
Yep, you can see him and smell him, and you know Ian will be putting it down as hard as he can, and you can see that little bit of a slide there, so he is trying. And not far behind him is Marty Uren in P4. So they're keeping it pretty close together at this late stages of the race for 1, 2, 3, 4.
That they are just looking at Marty Uren. He's got that Ferrari hooked up pretty nice. He's getting around here kind of quickly.
And we got another post up there. I don't know if you can read that. I sure can't.
That's Sargasm. Had a perfect race going. Ugh.
Well, there you go.
Thomas Schubeck. Yeah, we were watching you, Thomas.
Yeah, absolutely. Tough one there. Quite the wreck you got involved in. Well, I just picked up, I just picked up Aaron Parsons, and he is actually getting passed by some of the back markers. So, well, they let him by again. He's just so smooth that you might get by him, but he's coming by you sooner or later. Canavan in 8, Connie in 9, Wath in 10. And there's a late battle, Wathen and Myers. Wathen it, hanging it out there.
P11.
Greg, very smooth driver, drives the line. I would love to be able to drive like this guy. He is just Mr. Smooth to me. Hard to pass and hard to get rid of. Once he's behind you, you know he's going to drive the line. If you get off it, he's going by you. Big bobble by Wathen.
Absolutely, indeed. But it looks like we have Brad Maris not too far behind these two guys. So we may have a battle shaping up for a 10th spot.
Yeah, and you know Brad wants up into that top 10. He wants those team points. Greg Myers on the outside of Wathen. And Greg Myers just slides on by. Great pass.
Yeah, it looks like Wathen got early on the brakes, didn't want to take the chance and end up putting them both into the wall, so he gave it up.
Yeah, and you know that's probably not a bad move at this stage of the game because we have seen our share of fender benders tonight.
That indeed. We are 38 laps in the books, Jack. Looks like this one may be winding down very soon.
Yeah, I just moved up to Marco Connie, who's running all by himself out here. But, boy, this guy, like we talked about earlier, he's pretty decent in the rain. He's a very technically smooth driver in the rain. Doesn't over push the car, and he's doing a great job hanging on to P8.
Good on Marco.
P7 as Mr. Parsons and Sportelli in the Ferrari has managed to hang that up into P6. But still, the rain is just relentless here this evening.
We keep losing some drivers down here. We are down to 19 running. Andres Prieto out front by about 13.5 seconds over Alex White.
Well, we have got Rich Roman now, on the inside, having a big look and takes the position away from Marty Uren. So Rich Roman in the McLaren has just passed Marty Uren. Later on in the race. And Rich is only a few seconds back of Ian Jolicoeur for P3, so this is going to get interesting.
We can hope. 40 laps down. Andres has got 40. Looks like Alex White is coming by to pick up his 40th now, followed by the rest of the field.
Yeah, and Roman has just crossed the start-finish line as well, too, so he's not that far behind.
Well, it'd be interesting if we still finish on laps based on the pit stops and the inclement weather that occurred here tonight.
Yeah, I'm thinking we may end up around 45. I can't see it going all the way to 46. But who knows? I can never pick these things at the end. It's just tough enough just following these guys around.
That it is.
So I've just jumped on board with Rich Roman, and he has got Ian Jolicoeur in his sights. And Ian has got, boy, this is getting interesting. Ian has got Alex White in his sights too. He can see him. These cars are all in touch with each other. So, who can hang on? Who can put a late burst of speed together?
Each just separated by 2 seconds, so they are within eyesight of each other. I guess now it's just a matter of holding a steady pace and a steady line. And not giving up your position too easily.
Yeah, and these three have really closed it up. Rich Roman is, as Ian Jolicoeur hangs it out wide there, Rich is really closing the gap on him. And I suspect in the next corner or two we're going to see Rich Roman put the pass on Ian Jolicoeur, and he's having a look. And
it looks...
Did you see what I saw?
Yeah, Jolicoeur went ahead and gave up the spot to Roman.
And you know what? That is just the kind of drivers we have here around here. Ian knew that Rich had the pace on him, and rather than risk wrecking each other, let him on through. Good on you, Ian.
Yeah, I suspect that his tires may be a little worn. He's made one pit stop, so his tires may be a little worn as I see his tail slide out a little bit there.
Well, we have got Roman now, and Roman has made up that gap. And, you know, Ian was probably thinking the same. I can't catch White. And you caught me so fast, so maybe you can go catch him. And it sure looks like right now Rich Roman is gunning for that P2. And he has got him on the inside, but White has held him off. Wow, this is really getting exciting here late in the race, folks.
Yep, I figured Roman may be wanting to get the extra points that P2 offers. I think he's too far back from Andres Prieto at this point is over 17 seconds. So
side by side, and he has got him. And Alex White just hanging on with a big bobble there. The same with Ian Joller, who are coming off that corner. But Rich Roman has motored on by. And similar to Chris Moses, Rich has found late race speed in these absolutely dreadful conditions. So
and that's pretty incredible considering that we're still getting a ton of water flowing down.
It is absolutely flooded. I'm on board with your race leader, Andre Prieto, and there is a rooster tail of moisture coming up behind that Selena his. Still looking good there out there.
That he is. Mike Richard into the pits late in the race.
So we've got Andre Prieto in 1, Rich Roman in 2, Alex White in 3, and Rich has really put a gap on Alex already. No doubt about it. He's just run right by. He literally ran down Ian Joliker and Alex White. So Alex White in P3, Joliker in 4, and Marty Urin in 5.
John Sportelli bringing up your 6th position. Aaron Parsons in 7. John Wathen in 8. Marco Conti up to 9, and Brad Maris in 10th.
Yeah, and Brad looks like he is closing up on Marco Conti for that 9. P12. Mike Greatrix, hey, good on Mike as well in P13. And Matt Taylor into P14. Good on you, Matt, even though I'm going to try and grab you here, Matt. Oh, there we are. Well, your right side's all smashed to pieces. Your right front, your right door. Good on you for hanging in there, buddy. Andre Cole in P15.
Sergio Calderon is in 16th. Daniel Wilkerson in 17. Ryan Schleif 18. And your last running vehicle, Mike Richard in 19. Driving the Chevy Corvette.
So there you go, folks. Back out in front, Andre Prieto. Putting on a bit of a show here tonight. But Andre's sporting a little bit of damage there as well. Andre looks like his left front corner is a little beat up, but doesn't seem to be affecting him that much.
Yeah, I believe he may have had some contact with a back marker at a few laps back trying to get around. But yeah, he's just holding a steady pace right now and looking to finish out this race and take the win here. Yeah,
so we're right back to where we started. Now, does it look like it? No, I still see a ton of rain coming down. Right where we started at the beginning of the race there, Ken, we've got Roman and Prieto.
Roman and Prieto.
So the 2 fastest drivers out there in the early going in the dry, and the 2 fastest drivers in the qualifying are the 2 fastest drivers throughout the race, and they're still holding their positions 1-2 there.
Yeah, and it looks like we may have another lap left to go. It looks like Andres just started lap 44. So if he doesn't take the checkered here, he may be getting it next time around.
It could very well be. He is definitely not easing up. Still got that Celine motoring around there pretty good. But I think he's done with you know, the lap traffic. I think he can finish the race out here. And another great win in the books.
So as he holds it together.
Well, a different.
With your leaders, he motors around the track.
Yeah, a little different finish than last week. Our last week's winner, Mr. Parsons, is finishing a little farther back than he did before, but You know, not a big surprise. Anger Racing, Brad Maris and Andre Prieto, a great team they've got driving that Celine this year, and one of the longest hooked up teams in GT1 racing. So they're working well together.
You know, that's one of the amazing things about NAGP here. You never can tell who's going to be your winner of a race. We have so many great drivers here, and any one of them on any given day can end up in the top spot.
Well, it looks like we are going for one more.
Wow, as Ryan Schleif runs out of fuel.
No. Well,
he ran out of petrol.
You know what? That is got to be the worst way to lose a race, as far as I'm concerned, is to run out of fuel and not out of desire. So, hate to see that happen, Ryan, but we'll learn from that and move on and take an extra gallon or two next time out.
That's it.
So I think we're pretty confident here that Mr. Prieto, on board with Prieto, and I do not even see any indication of Rich Roman in his rear view. So I would have to say that Rich Roman is going to, or Andre Prieto is going to put this one in the books.
I agree with you. Rich Roman is sitting about 11 seconds back, and Alex White 22 seconds back. So so long as he can bring it cleanly to the line, this one is in the bag from Mr. Prieto.
Yeah, and boy, that Rich Roman sure put a gap on Alex White in a big way, really quickly in the last few laps. So Roman with some good pace late on. And coming up here now, I gotta think this is it. Round, and he will grab the checker flag for P2. Alex White is going to hang on in the Mad Croc Corvette for P3. But we got a dog race here. Ian Joliker coming around to grab P4. But behind him is Marty Uren. And not going to be able to do it. So Marty's going to pull out P5.
Yep, and we still have a few more finishers. John Sportelli looks like he is coming around the last bend there in P6, and Aaron Parsons not too far behind him. John Waffen, if he can hold it together, he still has a few more corners to go.
Yep, John still has Mark O'Connor behind him, so he's still got to finish the race.
Yep, and it looks like they're coming down to the last corner here to take the checkered flag.
Yep, so good race for John tonight.
Boy, Brad Maris is right behind Marco Conti.
Absolutely, I just picked up Marco Conti, who's coming around for ninth, but Brad Maris is saying maybe not. And Brad is sliding that car all over the place, trying to get a run on Marco Conti, and Brad Maris puts it into the pits in the wall. So Marco's going to take 9. Brad across the finish line in the pits without the front end on his car in P10. Oh, Salem Montgomery's going to be 11th. Greatrix in 12th. Matt Taylor coming around for, I'm calling it a 13th. Good on you, Matt. Andre Cole in 14. Sergio Calderon in 15. And Dan Wilkerson. I think Dan's going to pick up a point here. If he just brings it around and finishes it off, he'll pick up the last bank point in 16. Michael Richard has dumped his car into the wall and is burning brightly. Wow, what do you think of that?
Quite the exciting race, Jack. Absolutely entertaining, and good win for Andres Prieto. Congratulations there, Andres.
Yeah, I didn't think his strategy was going to hold out there when he stayed out as long as he did, but obviously he knows a lot more about this than we do. So, good race, Prieto, Roman. Lots of action, few accidents, a few retirements early that were unfortunate. And don't worry, Chris, you'll be back out to pull it together for the big finale. So next week we've got Super Bowl qualifying, and then the week after that we've got the big finale.
That indeed, Jack. That indeed, and we look forward to bringing you the great action right here on 8GP TV.
Yes, and we are planning, we got a few hits last week off a little mention of our the best of the rest race that we're going to run for non-podium winners. So if anybody's interested, get onto that stream that's up there. Let us know what your interests are, and we're going to try our best to get a race for the non-podium winners going in the off-season, which is just a week or two away. So for NAGP TV, I'm Jack Ivey, and I'm along with
Ken Rodriguez, and we'll see you next time.
See you next week at the races. Ken, I think I'm out, but it won't say we're. Oh yeah, the timer stopped, so we're good.
Oh, okay, good.
Hey, boy, that would have been a tough race to be in with that changing conditions. I sure wouldn't have wanted to be out there.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you, it just this sim just never ceases to amaze me, man. Just when you think you're gonna have a good, clean, dry race, here comes the wet weather.
Yeah, now you're gonna be out for Monday night, are you? You're coming out?
Oh, I'm gonna be out there. Spa, yes, I will be there. I'm going.
Attaboy. I might not be. I might have to travel again. I had an emergency happen, for a work emergency, nothing personal or anything, but everything went to heck in a handbasket today, so I might end up having to head off to Montreal on Monday. So I might miss the finale, which I really don't want to, but I will be watching if I'm not there, so you do your best out there. Are you going to get any time to practice this weekend?
I've been trying, but this week coming up, this weekend now, leading up to the event, I will be practicing.
That's good. That's good. What car are you driving?
I'm driving the Mosler, and thanks to David Poole, he set me up with this great setup. I am getting around that track in a hurry. Not as fast as they did during last week's Super Bowl qualifying. I think the fastest was low 217, but I'm in the mid to high 219s, which isn't too bad for me.
If you have race pace at 220, you go to last year's results. If you got race pace at 220, you're going to end up right close to the top 10.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. I've been practicing with both a quali setup. He gave me a quali setup and a race setup.